about it all season, but when everyone's able to contribute like that, just how effective does that make you guys in a postseason game?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, that's been our identity all year, is just getting energy and those sort of plays from, basically 1 through 11, 12, however many we play. And I thought some guys came in and just gave us a huge lift. I thought Ron was awesome. I mean, doing what he did, even just in a short amount of time to come in and do that after, maybe things not going his way in that first series, for a young player to come in and do that, I have the utmost respect for that, because he just kept his head, was in the gym every day working, and, prepared himself for an opportunity like this to come in and give us a spark.
Duncan, you had a big scoring night tonight. Can you talk about the role of, being the guy who has to hit the three-point shot, particularly in a playoff game, where you're expected to kind of do one big thing. Every time you get the ball, the crowd is basically on its feet. You're not drawing a foul necessarily. You're probably not going to get a rebound. It's do it or don't do it. Can you just talk about what that's like, and especially in this kind of pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable playing that role. I played it much of my life, definitely all of my NBA career. So it's just, part of what comes with the territory. But this is what you live for. This time of year. This is what all the work's for. This is what we're building towards all year. So, it's not always going to be perfect, right? Like, even in that Game 7, I thought I probably got my best looks of the series and didn't make as many as I would have liked to. But it's a group effort, and I got to keep shooting them, and that's one thing that I don't take for granted, because the whole staff, all my teammates, are just on me about continuing to be aggressive, and that just gives me a ton of clarity, and clarity is good for guys that shoot.
Duncan, it felt like JD did so much to impact the game before he even got going late with those 3 dunks. Just how impactful was he tonight, and what did you like about just his overall activity?
I thought he was awesome. People obviously want to get caught up in that last line of a box score with him of points. He does so much for us, and he's really the anchor of our identity, our bigs. It's Stu, P. Reed himself, just that physicality that they play with. And, we need him to be himself and the most energetic, the most imposing version of himself. And I thought he did that for big time stretches tonight. And, just some of these big swing plays where he just puts his body on somebody and gets an offensive rebound, or, cleans it up, a loose ball, or comes over and makes a play, a block. So he was big.
More on JD a bit, obviously it's only been one game in this series, but where have you seen him grow the most from last series?
I think obviously, the way we started last series was not up to our standard across the board. And I know he was discouraged with how he came out in that series. And I just give him so much credit for maintaining the consistency of the process throughout that series. And I really thought, that series was a microcosm of how effective he can be when he just continues to stay at it. Because Game 7 was his most impactful game, in my opinion. And it wasn't perfect. It's not maybe what people want to write about in terms of, some of the stuff he was doing this year with 25 points and, 18 rebounds or whatever. But it's impactful and it's winning. And he just carried that into tonight. And, I think Coach does a really good job of helping, these younger guys understand that this time of year is just about winning and what you can do to try to help us win. And he obviously does so much for us. And it's not just about scoring points, right? His impact goes long, long beyond that. But obviously he's capable of going out and having a 20-20 game, and we expect him to have one at some point. But it's more so just the consistency of what he does on a night-to-night basis.
Duncan, you've seen a lot of different journeys to the NBA. Danis, to go from a 10-day contract to key player, what does that say to you? What does it say about him?
His journey is unique, and takes somebody with a special will and character to have that story and that career. The talent is there, and he has this unshakable confidence for a young player, somebody that's been overlooked his whole career, and he just wears it as a chip. And it's just fun watching him be aggressive and the energy that he gives us on both ends. He can really do it on both ends, and having an extra ball handle out there makes a big difference, I think, for Cade. But I'm happy for him, man. He's been building it all year. That's another guy that works his tail off. So he has a moment, and maybe you guys might be surprised by it, but like we see it behind the scenes every single day. So it's cool that he's getting to do it this time of year too. He deserves it.
Duncan, what stands out to you about Cade as a passer?
There's a lot. I mean, he has a skill that's unique, like a feel and a rhythm and a read that, is just hard to teach. But I think for a player who's as highly touted as he is and talented, that can really get to his spots, at will and shoot, how willing he is as a passer. And, I think that a lot of times separates. I think you see it maybe as players get further along in their career, but for him at his age to really understand like that he needs all of us, right? For us to really be the best version of ourselves, and he's obviously the catalyst for all that because he garners so much attention. But the way he can like oscillate in between being super aggressive as a scorer and then just being such a dynamic passer is really unique.
Duncan, for a guy who is known mostly as a shooter, do you take extra pride or satisfaction in getting to the bucket and finishing there? And were you kind of feeling it before you're dust up with Harden there?
Yeah, I like mixing it up every now and then. Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna like run me off the line, I feel like I'm capable. That's something I've worked on a lot throughout my career. I think when I first came in, I want to say I think I set the record my second year for most percentage of shots, just threes. So I've made it a point to try to expand that and not just be so one-dimensional. So I usually, if you see me celebrate, I try not to celebrate threes because I like to act like I've been there before, but the times I will celebrate were when I mix it up and get a two. I smoked the free throw, which I don't know, this year has been weird at the free throw line. I don't know really what's going on, but hopefully I got to make those moving forward.